Hey guys, in this video we'll be looking at what we can do with the Agent 365 $15 per user license in the Purview Admin Center. This will be everything from the DLP for Copilot, audits, e-discovery, and the DSPM for AI. So let's just jump into the Purview Admin Center and look at
What do
this.
we really get in the Purview Admin Center? In our context here, we've covered the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, we've covered the Entra Admin Center, and now we have Ali, who is the admin in the Purview Admin Center, and we have to help him navigate the new license, which gives you the different things here in Purview. So you get the audit logs, as you can see here. So in Purview, you can search for Copilot interactions and you will be able to export them and do whatever you want with them in e-discovery or audit. This is, as you can see, included in your cloud subscription, but it is also included in this license. The next thing is the data lifecycle management for agents generated data and interactions. This is all the DLP policies for all the lifecycle management, let's say retention for the files that are created by Copilot. And then we have the non-compliant agent interactions, which is the communication compliance, where you can create your own policies for communication compliance, and you can apply them to either Copilot Studio and Foundry in this case, and Foundry. So, and then you can keep them as long as you want. So you have the retention, which is usually defined by the organization. Is it 6 months to 2 years? And if there is a case, you can go back and look at the unethical behavior. Maybe let's take an example of unethical behavior for your agent. So I will not spend a lot of time here. So let's jump into the admin center and take a look at the communication compliance to start with. You do have the overview here, and then you have the policies. I will focus on the policies because you can create a couple of different policies here. You can create unethical interactions for AI agents. You can create detect Microsoft Copilot interactions and detect inappropriate images which are sent to Copilot. So let's take this for example. You have the Azure AI Foundry, and then you where are the agents created? You can choose between these two for now, and then you can choose the reviewers. And in this context, I just have myself here. Is it how long should the policy preserve the matches? So in this context, very organization dependent. So we have 6 months, for example, and once you've created this, you can actually look at what it's doing. It's doing prompt shields, corporate sabotage, and money laundering. So it will detect these trainable classifiers. You either create the policy or customize the policy. And I will not create it for now, but this is how you do it for an ethical AI agent interaction from your users. Oh, I don't need search in Copilot. So that is communication compliance. Then you will get in the overview if there profanity in messages. Yeah, I've been mad at cowork lately, but this will be detected in your different agents, and you will see if you have a SIT, which is sensitive info types. You can create them, and you will get matches that hit the same. Those sensitive info types. And in the reports, you will actually see all the policy matches, which ones of them are resolved, and which where the most matches are. So you can go to the detailed reports here, but that's not the focus today. You have seen how you can create policies for Copilot and unethical interactions for AI, and those are the things you can do here. So you create the policy, you turn them on, and you make sure that it runs for Copilot and Microsoft Foundry and Copilot Studio. So the next thing we'll look at is the audit logs and e-discovery. So in the audit logs, you will be able to search for Copilot interactions. I have already done this before, so I will not spend a lot of time showing you how to do this. As you can see here, you can choose the date and the range, and then you can choose the users. So what you need to search is interacted with Copilot, and for the user you want, let's say this is me in this case, mod administrator, and then from there you can search for the dates that you want. Also, there is a couple of other things that you can actually search for Copilot. So you know that Copilot has all these automated, what do I say, scheduled prompts and all these different Copilot automated stuff in Outlook. So you can choose, where is it? Down here. So Copilot search section activities, created section, and schedule prompt, deleted a schedule prompt, and actually executed a schedule prompt. But in this case, I've just already done it. And you can see the search query. There is 2,906 items for the user, which is between those dates. And I can check exactly what it was. So Copilot interaction, I can see the different Copilot Studio. It's the daily calendar, and that's good to know where it comes from and which app is being used. Here is the IT support agent, and I can see the user ID, I can see the client IP, and the user key. So this is what audit gives you. You can search for Copilot interaction, automated prompts, and whatever you want inside there. So that's it for audit logs. Let's take a quick look at eDiscovery, what you can do in eDiscovery for basically the same thing. So eDiscovery gives you access to, let's see here, cases and content search. Content search I think will be disappearing soon, but in the cases you can create a case, and once you create a case you can hold it. You can do whatever you want in there with. If it's a legal case, then you can give access to the IRM analysts or whoever is going to be, or e-discovery managers, whoever is going to be using those cases. So if I create a case and call it Copilot and advanced settings, premium discovery, let's create this. And once it's created, you can start searching for Copilot interactions. So this is where you do it, and that's it for basically this e-discovery stuff. If you want in-depth video for e-discovery, we can do that, because you have the case settings, process manager, who are the analysts and who are the case legal managers. So in this context, we have covered simply how to just create a case and content search. From there, you can. I have my other video which shows how to create content search. And let's take a look at the data lifecycle for agents. This will I will combine it with this stuff up here. So we have the data security, posture management, and insider risk management. So what I will do is I will combine these two, because it makes sense to combine them. Why it makes sense? You have the, let's say you have a document here which is unlabeled. So this document has to have a sensitivity label. And the sensitivity label can be, let's say, Copilot confidential. And this sensitivity label will be used by Purview, both the DLP and the information protection. So you create this in information protection. DLP prevents the information from being, let's say, processed by Copilot or being sent out to web search. So what we can do from here, once you've created the sensitivity label and the document gets labeled with the sensitivity label, what we can do is, sorry, what we can do is just create, either use a SIT, which is a sensitive info type, or you can use the sensitivity label to govern how Copilot accesses these two. And if this document has a sensitivity label and Copilot generates a new document using this document, then what we get is a new document with the sensitivity label that is from this document. So that's easy to understand. It's straightforward. You inherit the sensitivity label. And if there were more documents, Copilot will always inherit the highest sensitivity label, the document with the highest sensitivity label. So let's jump into the admin center and do this step by step. So what you can do first is you go to information protection, and in here you have the sensitivity labels. In the sensitivity labels, you will be able to create your own sensitivity labels. What I usually do with my customers is sit down, have a talk, and decide the taxonomy for the sensitivity label. What is the different hierarchies, and how do we define what is to be processed with or by Copilot? Starts from here. So you create the sensitivity labels, you publish the labels. You can decide to publish them for a small group or the entire organization. Once the sensitivity labels are created, you will be able to publish them using the label publishing policies. And here I have the Copilot labels. I use this to publish all the Copilot sensitivity labels, which I created for specifically for Copilot. So once the sensitivity labels are created, Copilot has this, you have your documents with the sensitivity labels. What we do next is we prevent these sensitivity labels from being processed by Copilot. How we do this? This is data loss prevention policies. So, what are data loss prevention policies? They are simple policies that make sure that your agents, your copilots do not process data that is not supposed to be processed. They prevent your data from being from they prevent or they safeguard your data from moving into the web search. Let's say web search here. And in this context, I will choose, let's say, a sensitive info type, which I don't want Copilot to process with web search. So let's create customized DLP rules. And here, this is important, the advanced DLP rules. I will call this sit sensitive info type web restrict. Yeah, restrict. So just a quick name there, content contains. So what you can do here is you can add either sensitive info type or sensitivity labels. You remember we just said that you have to create sensitivity labels. You have to do the same for sensitive info types. But if you haven't done that, Microsoft has a whole list of sensitive info types. So you really don't need to create them yourself. Let's say we want all full names and all credentials. We add these two, and then we look at the confidence. So the confidence is either low, medium, or high. And how, if you take high, this will be a lot of positive matches. And I don't really know which algorithm Microsoft, if it's a machine learning model that's being used behind there, what is the precision, what is the recall. Microsoft's not sharing this information. So to be on the safe side, choose medium and decide your instance count based on the risk appetite of your organization. So in here, you decide this. And once you've done this, add a condition. So the conditions were added. If these conditions are met, the policy will be applied. But what actions do we take when those conditions are met? So you can restrict Copilot from processing content, either processing the prompt or performing web searches. So you cannot do both at once. Same as here, you cannot choose sensitive info type and sensitivity labels at once. So what you do here is you choose either prompts or performing web searches, and then you decide who is going to be the people who are going to get these alerts. And this is, of course, maybe a team that goes through all the all the interactions in Copilot once a week or once a month or once two, 3 times a week, depending on your organizational standards, and you save this. Once this is saved, you will be able to choose either to simulate the policy or you can turn it on immediately. So when in simulation mode, you can show the tips and your data will not be affected at all. What happens here is that you get to simulate it. And after 15 days, as you can say, you can put it on. And what I recommend usually to my customers is having a small pilot group. And this pilot group actually gets the policy turned on. And then we get feedback from them. They will be informed. There is a communication strategy where they get all what is actually included in the different sensitivity labels, how they should use them. And of course, in the sensitivity labels, you have to turn on the tips so that the users know how to apply this. But if you use secure by default, of course, this is another way of just helping users apply the policies or the sensitivity labels. And from there, they have their goal is to just change the sensitivity labels. They just modify when needed. So it's secure by default. I have a whole blog on this, and you can go there and read about this. So you run in simulation mode and you submit. Once you've submitted, the policy will run in simulation mode. I will not do that because I already have policies on here. So now you have created the sensitivity labels. You have created the data loss prevention policy, and let's take a look at what is next. So what happens here actually? So what happens in this context is here explained by very well explained by Microsoft. In the Microsoft 365 here, you will have items in your tenant, and Copilot will generate new items when supported. So you really have to check the documentation if it's supported. So you have a sensitivity label and encryption. What is created by Copilot will have the sensitivity label and encryption. On the other hand, if it's just a sensitivity label, Microsoft will also create a new document with a sensitivity label. If we look at the external files, which come from your either local network, local storage, your LAN, or your cloud storage, and it comes, Copilot generates new documents. It's not given that it's not actually given that Copilot will do this, but you have to make sure that it is supported. So this is always important when it comes to Microsoft products. So you have to check documentation what is supported. So let's see insider risk management. What is insider risk management? This is for the guys that want to send risky prompts. They want to send prompts that are not not compliant with what the organization is doing or what the organization stands for. So here you will have the overview, and you will see all the, let's see here, all the users that need they need, there's alerted users who have actually been doing stuff that is not correct. But in our case, we have policies, and not only user policies anymore, we have agent policies. If you look at, you remember the first video about the M365 Admin Center, we do have the default policy for agents, and you can create your own custom policy. And this is where it becomes interesting. So when you create a custom policy for insider risk, you can choose you can choose where they're applied. You can prioritize, but let's take a look at what is needed. The prerequisites are a Copilot license and Foundry details. Of course, they're optional, but we can continue with them. And let's call this IRM YouTube. All agents in your organization. And here is the important thing. So what do we want to prioritize? And once we've chosen the sensitive info type, sensitivity labels, and SharePoint, we will be prompted to add the SharePoint sites. If you want some prioritized SharePoint sites with high sensitive information and you want it to be really prioritized, you can add them here. I will remove that because I don't have a lot of sensitive SharePoint sites in this demo tenant, and I will just jump over to sensitivity labels. And what sensitivity labels do I want to be prioritized? I want Copilot Confidential to be prioritized. And once this is added, I can go to next and decide what sensitive info types do I want prioritized in this risky user or risk management, insider risk management. Let's take some random stuff here, and you choose depending on your company's needs. And the scoring is important because you will either get alert for all activity or the ones that include priority content. Based on organizational standards, again, you need to choose what is relevant for you. What is the triggering event? You will see that you can choose all, or you can choose risky prompts sent to an agent, agent responses containing sensitive data. So this is what the agent generates, accessing sensitive or priority SharePoint files, and agent accessing risky websites. This is important. You can either apply built-in thresholds or you can choose your own. This means that you can choose a number of risky prompts to an agent a day. You can bump this up to 100 or have only two, depending on the risk appetite of your company. The agent response that contains sensitive data, this is inference. So you define how risky, risky content or sensitive content is defined. And again, depending on your organization, set numbers that make sense for you. In here, I will choose apply built-in thresholds by Microsoft. You can see all the indicators that are selected, next, and detection options. Select all. These are the risk score boosters, which is activities above usual. If you don't want this, you can turn it off, but this is good to have if you want to see, let's say an agent is expected to have 30 responses, then all of a sudden it goes to 2000 responses. This is let's say it moves from medium to high severity, then you get the alert in inside of risk management. Also, you can see the thresholds. You can apply your thresholds for indicators, but for now I will not do that. But this is how it looks. You decide the agent choose accessing risky websites, and you can look at the risk score boosters. Is it default medium high? For Microsoft it's medium, I think, in the built-in. And once you're done, you submit and create this. You can see all the indicators and no customized thresholds. So of course I will not do this because we already have a policy here, and this is a risky agents policy. This is automatically applied to the agents that are created, and you will see that here we have the policies, and then if we check, we have the users here. We don't care about the users in this video, so we have the alerts for the agents, and no alert. Okay, then we have the agents. So if you just want to check an agent in here, you can see what the agent is doing. So you have here one activity has been assigned a risk score. Let's check what this activity is. Triggering event, risky agent activity detected. Activity, sensitive response generated by the agent. So there are 15 events for these agents, and the date is, yeah. So here you can see all this for this date at least. You can see here what has the agent done. It's in Copilot interaction from Copilot Studio. You can see prompt here is apply for the Power Platform developer role, and the response is here. You can see the test dummy sit. This is a dummy sit. I have sensitive info type. The confidence is 65, and there is only one count. That's it for this section. This is how you can find the risky prompts. This is based on your policies that you create or the default policy that is on. The next thing we'll look at is DSPM. I see that I have still the old DSPM for AI here. The DSPM for AI is classic. It will disappear. The classic DSPM will disappear 30th of September for all the users in Purview. But DSPM in Purview gives us access to insights and analytics. You can see all the prompts, you can see all the sensitive info types, and you can have ready-made policies, DLPs for AI prompts. And you also have data risk assessments, which you can run weekly for the top 100 SharePoint sites, and you have compliance control. So let's just jump into the DSPM for AI and look at this. So I really like this AI observability page because you can see the agent registry and you have all apps and agents. So if you're only interested in agents, you have to stay here. And from here, you can actually choose the different agents that you want to work with. So I know I have an agent here that has auto agent testing. And here this is in Copilot Studio, and I have 0 DLP agent IDs here. And I can show more and see who it's published to. It's allowed for all for now. There is no risk detected for these agents. There is no recommendations. Cool. These agents looks really good. So what we can do here is we can go to Discover and Activity Explorer. I really like spending time in here because in all the activities here, you will be able to see the sensitive info types. You will be able to see DLP rule matches, and you will be able to see the AI interaction. So if I take a look at one of the sensitive info types, you will see the user and you will see what app they have been using. This is Copilot Cowork Chat. So I've used a lot of Cowork lately. And what is been detected here is interaction, yeah, sensitive info types, diseases, all medical terms. And I really don't know why that came up, but that's what it found. And here I can see, for example, again, it's Cowork. I've been using a lot of Cowork lately. And it used the bash, it used task update and write. And from here I can see what actually this what is nothing sensitive in this looks good. What you're interested in is sensitive info types, and you are interested in the ones that actually, let's take for example the LP match rule. Where are they are really small, so you cannot see them. Let's do this and choose the LP match. So there is 3 of them, and if you want to filter by this, let's see activity type, and I want to filter by this. So when did this match the DLPs and what did I do? I can filter and check this category. So this is June 13th, yesterday. and I can look at the DLP policy match. Oh, there is a citizen PII, internal only, and this is block external sharing. So once that's done, this is what happened. This was policy mode is enabled, and this was in Copilot Office. So this was blocked because someone, me, tried to use this in the Copilot in Office. So I can go to IRM from there and see what has been happening there. So this user is a risky user, of course. So I'm a bad user, and I can see what this user has been doing. So let's see, what are the dates? Yeah, it seems like there was nothing for this user. But again, if you look at the DLPs here, you can see which user it is, and the DLP match was actually, it matched the DLPs. So same thing here. It's the same policy and the same, again, rules. So you have the asset explorer here. This is posture with posture agent. I don't have the access to the agent, but I can see what is going on for all the assets in there. So OneDrive for business, and I can see all the different equity intel reports. This is what I've been doing in work, and it's unlabeled. So this is why it's in here. Data risk assessments. This is what I was talking about. I can run the different assessments here, and you can see I have a default assessment. And once you run these assessments, you will be able to see the results here. So I will run a custom assessment, YouTube. Next, and the item level assessment, I want to see all these directory read files. So it will scan individual files in SharePoint sources for over risk of sharing. And there is a maximum of 10 sources. So I can use all users, and there I can choose 0 out of 10 sites selected. So I have to scope the sites, and let's see here, add the sites to this data assessment. So I can add SharePoint sites here. Let's take some of them. Procurement, I know I use those a lot. And I just take 8, 9, 10. That's it. So I'm not allowed to have 11. So I choose 10, done. And I can choose OneDrive locations, but I will not, I will actually include OneDrive locations, save and run. So the 10 sites will, data assessment will run for those 10 sites. And once it's done, I will find potential oversharing data based on the users and the data sources I added. Can take up to 48 hours. So I recommend running this already if you haven't done it on your top SharePoint sites, so that you can see what is what is actually potentially overshared in your top SharePoint sites and OneDrive locations. So that is it for the DSPM, and I hope you start using this and start running the risk assessments. And we've gone through the AI observability, we've gone through the apps and agents, we've looked at the activity explorer, asset explorer, and the data risk assessments. The DLP for agents, we have seen how the sensitivity labels are honored, and the insider risk management for agents. So as in this video, we've covered a lot of ground on in Purview, and this is the last slide we had, and now we have checked through all the things that are in the $15 per user license. The next video will be about the Defender. We will look at how the security team works with the M365 admin team to do threat hunting for different agents, and advanced threat hunting, how you actually turn on the real-time prompt injection detection and protection in runtime for Copilot Studio agents. And yeah, that this is the next video, guys. Stay tuned, and I hope you hit the like and the subscribe button after watching this video. Thank you all.